So I just got off a call with a client who I've been coaching for quite a while now, and his company, they're going through a change of software. And they're here based in Germany. They do all the production here, but they also have an administration office in Italy. So they've been dealing with the Italian side for a while, trying to figure out this whole change with the software. Now, we've been talking about this for a while and trying to figure out why they're having problems. And of course, for me, the obvious reason was cultural. I figure they're having cultural issues. Germans and Italians are not exactly the same culturally, so they could be having some miscommunication. But honestly, after this call today, it's become super clear to me that the problem that they're having has nothing to do, or at least not a lot to do, with culture, with business, or even with the sites themselves, but it has to do with communication. The communication is completely messed up because what's happening here is that people are not communicating properly. There's too much talking, not enough listening going on. And the questions are not being asked that need to be asked. People are answering assumptions, not questions. Questions are not clear. When questions are asked, the other side is interrupted as they're answering, so the answers never come up really. So there's this complete miscommunication thing happening that is just making or creating problems that shouldn't even be there. One of them, I'll give you an example. One of them right now, the Italian side hired a consulting company to help them go through this. Now, it's not clear whether or not it has to do with dealing with the German side or just because they've never done a software overhaul like this before. So that's fine. Now, this is where the issue comes in, or the current issue. The consulting company has just hired a sub-consultant to help with the specific SAP issues. Now, the German side thinks that maybe they've made a mistake and hired the wrong consultant, and they're having this whole headache about worrying about whether or not the consultant is right for them because, if they need a sub-consultant, maybe they're not qualified to do it. Well, my question to him was, have you asked the consultant why they got a sub-consultant? The answer, of course, was no. So they're assuming that the company has no idea what they're doing, but the problem is that the right question's not being asked. Maybe they just want to have somebody that's a specialist in SAP to make sure that everything goes well, because they are more of a migration type consultancy that helps the companies move from one piece of software to another, or something along those lines. So there are many reasons why they would maybe get a sub-consultant. So that's not a red flag necessarily. But the problem is that the right questions are not being asked. At the same time, like I said, there's way too much talking going on. I told them, you should be listening 80% of the time and talking 20% of the time. And when a question is asked, you should answer the question. So many people are assuming what lies behind the question. And they're giving these long, big answers that at the end do not really answer the question, but give you all the information that maybe you might need. And that is a huge problem that I keep seeing with companies, just giving way too much information to a question. If I ask you a question, I want a yes or no, or I want a plain, clear answer that answers my question. If I want to know anything else, I will ask for that information. Don't give me more information than what I asked for. It's not efficient, it's not effective, it's nothing. It's actually time wasting what you're doing, because I may not need all that information. You're assuming that I might need it. I don't. Maybe I do. And if I do, I'm going to ask for it. Clear questions are extremely important in this case. Listening is important, especially once you ask a question, then you should listen to the person all the way through till they're done answering. If you don't agree with the answer, just because you hear something you don't like, you shouldn't interrupt them. You should let them finish. And when they're done, then you can tell them what you think. But this miscommunication thing that's going on, this is not the only company I've seen it with. I've seen it with so many different companies in the last 1 or 2 years especially, that it's really worrisome that all these people in very high places with a lot of responsibility, and they're decision makers for companies that make a lot of money. that these people cannot communicate with each other. Communication is one of the number one skills. Actually, every single job you've ever applied for asks for communication skills. I don't know anyone that doesn't. Even working at McDonald's requires it. Yeah? Every single job that you have requires you to be able to communicate. And the problem is that most people don't know how. You need to learn how to listen to people all the way through. Answer in short, concise sentences that are simple and easy to understand. And don't assume anything. Ask questions and make sure that you're asking the right questions, not just a general question here. Get specific about what you want, figure it out. Go back to the subconsultant issue from earlier. You know, they're thinking of all these different things of what's happening. Well, the simple question is, why do you need a subconsultant? And then see where that goes. So that was my rant for today. But I hope that some of you, got something out of this, understand where I'm coming from, and will actually apply these to your day-to-day communication. Because I guarantee you, you guys are missing out on a lot of deals, on a lot of not only that, you're having extra headaches and issues in your business because you're not communicating correctly. Listen 80% of the time, talk 20%, and ask clear questions. And don't assume. Okay? Have a great day.